Have you ever been training jiu-jitsu and like a grown man is sitting on top of you or a grown woman and they're about this close to putting you to sleep or potentially breaking your arm, and then all of a sudden the world stops and you pause for a second and then you say, man, I know I've learned how to escape this. I know I've learned how to get out of this technique, but you just can't generate the memory or recall exactly what your coach has showed you probably 1,000 times. And so you start blanking out whenever you start training jiu-jitsu and you just can't remember your techniques. So in today's video, I want to share with you guys a few things that I've taught thousands of students to be able to do to help solve this problem, and things that I do personally and improved on over my years as being a jiu-jitsu black belt. So stick around and settle in. We're going to talk about it right now. Before we continue any further in this video, make sure you guys do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you guys hit that bell icon. That way you're notified whenever the latest video comes out. I try to put out weekly jiu-jitsu videos, so that way you guys can continue to get better at jiu-jitsu. If you guys are looking for another medium of jiu-jitsu content, make sure you guys check out my podcast known as the Jiu-Jitsu Secrets Podcast. There's around 40 episodes. They're about small, anything between 10 to 20 minute episodes of daily jiu-jitsu training. Make sure you check that out on all the major podcast services. Like I said, these are techniques that I've shared with all kinds of students, either in person or online. And these are ones that I even do with myself on how to improve these memory or recalling skills. This is one of the main problems that I see students having, especially whenever they are brand new to jiu-jitsu and they start rolling. I even see this sometimes even students into their blue belt career. Honestly, it's actually even a problem as you continue to go through jiu-jitsu. But what happens is you start creating habits throughout your jiu-jitsu career. I will see students whenever they first start sparring, especially for the first time, put into a bad position. Then they say, man, I can't remember what exactly I need to do. And they just go totally mind blank. And then they get this kind of paralysis by analysis idea. Before we continue on any further with the video, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor of this video, Gold BJJ. Oh wait, I think I have something for you guys. Yeah. Oh, nice. Gold BJJ, they have some awesome training gear, like this awesome training bag right here. Let's open it up. Let's see what we got in here. Oh man. Oh, we have a full gi. Oh man, this is a nice white clean gi right here. We got, my jiu-jitsu black belt over here. We got some awesome rash guard and training gear. I can even hold my laptop in here. So if you guys are looking for all kinds of training gear, if you're looking for new stuff to be able to add, man, this thing holds at least my gi, my laptop, my belt. I have defense wipes in here that they have. Also, make sure you guys check out their whole website where you can see all their awesome products. Also, if you guys use the description code down below, I'll send you a free gift of body wash that you can see right here. So make sure you guys check them out, Gold BJJ. So let's talk about the first idea of why our brains even do this. Well, this is something that is outside of your control. Our brains have this thing that is called the flight or fight method, designed to keep you alive. So the first time that you start sparring and training with somebody who knows way more than you and you feel like you're about to die, then you end up trying to survive and do everything you can. A good example that I like to share about this is from the bottom of the mount. Whenever students are in the bottom of the mount, and even though that they've been shown maybe an umpa escape or a trap and roll or an elbow escape or some kind of legitimate jiu-jitsu escape, they will often just expose their back and turn over. And that's often because that crocodile part of your brain has created a habit or an instinct that if it doesn't see the danger, therefore the danger doesn't exist. The other thing is that there's habits that you've actually created probably out in the world that are kind of counterintuitive to jiu-jitsu. So to use the child example, if you have your child that's sleeping on your chest and laying on you here, want to move them, well, what do? Well, you grab them and then you pick them off and you set them down. Well, in jiu-jitsu, when someone is resisting and trying to hold you down, you can't just lift somebody off of you in the same way. You've created these habits in your life that have either been programmed into you that you didn't have a choice, or just your daily activities that you've experienced outside that you now bring into the jiu-jitsu world. These are what we call bad habits. And when I say bad, I don't necessarily mean like they're all bad. They're just poorly directed habits. Let's put it that way. What I want to share with you guys is 3 habits that I recommend students start building first, and that will help this blanking out method go away or start to improve a little bit. So the first habit is a pretty obvious one, but often we look at it more as a physical habit versus a mental or cognitive habit is it's going to be slowing down. Yes, it's going to help in the physical side as well too. It's going to help you not burn as much energy, but it also helps in the cognitive sense. The first time that you're starting to roll and spar, your brain is trying to process all of the stuff for the first time of it being seen. It's not seen all of this chaotic fighting or this chaotic grappling before. So you're trying to go through and apply the techniques that you've learned, but now it's coming at such a faster pace that you have never seen that it is hard for you to start recalling the techniques or doing them properly. So basically your brain is moving faster than your body can physically move. So if you slow down and actually move slower, not only will that help you not fatigue as fast, but it will actually help the mental cognition of your brain and get everything generating faster, and you'll start to improve that ability, and then you can always speed it up. So you have to create the new habit of slowing down, and not just physically, but also slowing your brain down so your body can catch up. If you think about it, if you had to go run a marathon and maybe you're not the best marathon runner in the world, so you're not world-class or conditioned, but you're just an average person, and you have this task of going and running a marathon now, and then you had to do an extremely mentally taxing kind of exam or test, they wouldn't go well together on the same day. So fatigue is both mental and physical. In fatiguing yourself physically, it's going to tax you mentally, which then now you blanking out and trying to remember what you're supposed to do becomes a lot harder to do. You're working with a lot less of an energy bar there. What's the worst memory that you have about blanking out? How often did it happen to you? Do you still have it happen to you? Were you a white belt, blue belt? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. Also, if you're really needing more help or wanting more information about how to actually take more steps and get better at training jiu-jitsu, make sure you guys check out my free acceleration guide that's down in the bottom. It gives you guys an idea about how to structure your jiu-jitsu, gives you some more information about the jiu-jitsu hierarchy and things like that in order to start getting this blanking process a little bit better. Habit number 2 we want to talk about is improving self-awareness or improving your spatial awareness. So there's kind of 2 big categories that we want to focus on in this. We want to be able to focus on the position that we're in, and we also want to focus on what is being done to me. Position, it doesn't have to be exclusively top or bottom, and same thing, the technique could be a offensive or a defensive technique that you're trying to focus on. But essentially, you need to be being aware about what is actually happening to you so you can generate the right appropriate counter or the right attack or the right pass or whatever you need to start applying, but you have to be able to be aware of what's actually going on. A big example that I like to use for this one is when students learn the cross choke or the X choke for the first time, which is the 2 main positions you can do it is from the top of the mount or the bottom of the guard. Whenever students get put in the bottom of the mount, they will start to try to apply the X choke or the cross choke from the bottom of the mount. To a new person, they often think that they're in the bottom of the guard. They don't realize that the bottom of the mount and the bottom of the guard are 2 separate things in the moment of battle. So they refer to a habit that they've already created or that they've already seen, and they just go and try to do the choke. It's funny, when I start calling students out for this, they will be like, well, I knew that. I was just seeing if it would work. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You just didn't realize you were in the bottom of the mount. You definitely thought you were in the bottom of the guard. The way that you can get better at this is what I call the 5-second game. So the 5-second game is very simple rules, but you have to hold yourself accountable to them. If you get into a position, whether it's the bottom of the mount, bottom of side control, or even the top position, top of mount, you have to wait a minimum of 5 seconds before you can do anything. For brand new people, they think 5 seconds is like an eternity being in the bottom, when in reality, it's not that long. You need to be able to train yourself to be calm and be patient and be in that position for about 5-ish seconds. If you could do longer, great, but 5 seconds is about the max I can get most students to do before they start kind of panicking. Then when you're in that position, you need to take inventory about what's happening. You need to understand, how are they holding the mount? What kind of attacks are they trying to apply? And start to kind of catalog that information into your brain. And that way, now next time you experience it or that you see it, you can generate the right counter for the right move or the right escape for the right position. The next habit that I want to talk about is hunting for feedback. Now, this is a really big habit, and a lot of students are pretty good at this, but they do it for other reasons. I'm going to talk to you guys about why it's good for the blinking out idea, because often students have no outside perspective about what they're doing or how they look. So that example of the student being in the bottom of the mount and doing the X choke that I talked about, unless I would have given that student feedback, they probably would have 100% thought that they were in the guard and that the technique didn't work. And then because I gave them the feedback of, hey, you're in the bottom of the mount, not the bottom of the guard, they now can associate those two mistakes together and hopefully start to improve. Unless you have an awesome jiu-jitsu coach like me or an awesome training partners that give you that feedback, a lot of times people will just tap you or not do anything and not tell you why. And then you're going to be like, well, I don't know why that didn't work. And then you're going to throw it away. You need to become a feedback machine. You need to start hunting for that left and right, back and forth. The one bit, a caveat that I will give you guys for this is make sure if you're going to hunt for feedback, you ask great questions. And this is another habit that needs to be created. A poor question, in my opinion, is saying, what could I have done better? That's a very poor question because there's probably a lot of things you could have done better. Try to pick one thing and ask one question over it. The benefit to that is number one, it makes it a lot easier for the person to actually give you quality feedback, and it gives you less to focus on. Because if you say, what can you do better? And then I give you 70 things, well, the chances of you remembering everything or even one thing really good is very little. Pick one thing, one instance that happened, and then try to start to apply the technique or the information from that part. If you're slowing down, if you're being spatially aware by playing the 5-second game, then this should be much easier to be able to do. You should be able to ask, hey, I was trying to escape the mount in this position, but I noticed you did this, or why didn't this work? And then you show them again, they can give you some feedback. So you got to be hunting for feedback and always be aware about what you're actually doing. So that's habit number 3. In order to create all these habits, I know a lot of people are like, well, Chase, you gave me a lot of good information here. These are some great habits and ideas, but I don't know if I can do all of these together. And that's a very valid concern and valid point. But what you need to understand, the key to building habits is understanding tasks. Like having the task of slowing down will build that habit. Being able to task of doing the 5-second game will help you build the self-awareness, right? Other things that you can do that are a little tiny task is like creating a training journal, being able to catalog the feedback that someone gave you and write that down, or catalog the self-awareness things that you picked up on will also help. And obviously the best tool that you guys can use that everyone has is a stinking phone, and set that up and videotape yourself training. That really does help you improve this blanking out, because if you can go back and watch yourself, you're going to see those little moments and your brain will start connecting those little pieces together even sooner, even better. And you can start generating the techniques and stop blanking out as much. Set these tasks as either one thing to do a day or 2 things to do a day. Start off small, but the goal should really be able to create new habits. Continue to hunt for bad habits. There will be bad habits that you will continue to do throughout your jiu-jitsu career. Like the one example I talked about with the kid laying on the chest. A lot of students will still do that when they start to escape the bottom of side control. They'll start pushing when they should be doing more shrimping. I encourage you guys to find ways to almost be like bad habit spotters. Like, what are bad habits that you do left and right? And the sooner you can address that it's a bad habit, or even ask if it's a bad habit, the better you can get it corrected. But that goes back to that self-awareness thing. So this is why these are the first 3 that I really recommend students start focusing on first. Thank you guys for making it to the end of another video. Make sure if you haven't already, give this video a like. Also, hit that subscribe button again if you guys like this kind of content. If you guys are really wanting more direct help with your jiu-jitsu, you guys can book a call with me down below. I have an online coaching program where I actually go into more detailed steps about how to actually get you from blanking out, actually how to get you improving jiu-jitsu better. I help you build a training process and start doing the things that no one ever teaches you to do in jiu-jitsu, right? That takes some time off the mat. So if that's something you're interested with, book a call down below. We can have a chat and we can see if you're actually a good fit for the program. I hope you guys have a good rest of your training session. Get after it, start creating good habits. Make sure you guys check out one of these next videos that you'll see right here and up and coming, and I'll see you guys next time.